Hey guys, Ryobi King back again today for another video. As you've seen, we're going to be doing a review on the Ryobi knives that they came out with. If they come out with some more knives, I'll probably buy them just to review them. They're pretty decent, but this is kind of their packaging. This is how they come. They come in the basic clamshell design, nothing special. It's not like a $100+ knife that comes in a big fancy box or anything. It just comes in the basic packaging. Gives you a little information about the knives, but I tell you what I do not see is the steels that are on these knives. So I would imagine they're probably just a lower end cheap steel. But let's go ahead and get a good look over on these knives, and let's see how good they are. Alright, so we're going to start off with the assisted opening knife. You see it does have a lock right here, which is nice. Keeps it from opening up in your pocket. The assist is pretty decent. You can tell it's on the lower end of the knives, but it's only 12 bucks. You can't really bark at that. The steel is a two-tone. It's a nice shiny and then what looks to be like a brushed steel, and then it is partially serrated. Not a big fan of that personally because it's hard to sharpen serrades, but to some people that's pure preference. You can see the little lanyard hole in the back. Some people are all about that. I don't typically do it. These are liner lock. All three of these knives are liner lock. Try to get a little close up here for you guys to show you that. Liner lock's pretty standard in the industry. A lot of companies use that, but you can see, now I'm going to show you whenever you lock this, it will not open. I pushed on that pretty good and it's not popping out. So that's pretty good little design. Good safety feature. I'm kind of a fan of that. It's a pretty decent knife overall. Definitely the Ryobi green stands out. It's pretty similar. I held it up to one of my tools and it's pretty similar. It's not spot on. The logos are spot on. They look great. The belt clip, pretty decent. It holds good detent in my pocket. Overall, it's pretty decent. I can't complain for a $12 knife. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We're going to do the little small tactical folding knife here. It's got a pretty decent pocket clip. I actually prefer the last pocket clip over this one. You can kind of see the Ryobi logos on both sides. They kept that theme going across, the green. It's the same exact green on all three knives, so you can definitely tell they're produced the same. This one is not assist open. You have to manually open it, but it still feels solid. That's one thing about all three of these knives is they definitely feel solid. There's no play in the knives or anything. Here's one compared to the other knife I'm about to look at. You can see just how much shorter it is compared to that one. It's substantially smaller. But once again, the hole in the middle, pretty, it's just there for aesthetics. The blades on all three of these came in moderately sharp. I have definitely held sharper knives out of the box, but I can tell you this, I've held a lot of crappier sharpened jobs. They're pretty decent overall. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. As far as low-end knives go, 7 out of 10. You can see, once again, it's a liner lock like all the rest. And then you go ahead and check on the back here. It's got a nice little area right here that you can use for cutting seat belts. I'm not a big fan typically on knives like this. Whenever they put them in, they kind of put them in the middle. On this one, they stuck it on the left, which I'm not a fan of because you can almost kind of catch that with your finger, or maybe if you got something in your pocket, it'll kind of touch that and cut it. You do have a glass break on the top. I didn't test the glass break. I don't really have any glass to break, but I would imagine it'll work just fine. Those carbide things on all these knives are pretty popular now. And last and most definitely the least of my favorite knives of the bunch. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. Same design as always. Ryobi on both sides. You got the green on everything. It is still a liner lock. It's a manual knife, but it's got these two tools on it. That's a flat blade, which is extremely thin. And then on the other side, I'll show you that one here real quick. That's supposed to be a Phillips. Now, I know it's hard for you to tell, but there barely is any extension coming off on both sides, so it's almost like another flat blade. Once again, too, very thin steel, so you're not gonna, if you need to use this to pry anything, you're not gonna pry very much. Longest blade out of the batch, just barely longer than the assisted open. Blades just about as sharp as all the rest. I would say these, like I said, were probably all made at the same time in the same factory, so same sharpening. It does have a bottle opener. I find that to be kind of a gimmick myself. I don't really need to carry a bottle opener with me. There's always ways to open up bottles. But that's just my opinion. If it's something you like, maybe that's something you'd prefer. So yeah, guys, that's kind of just an overview of all the knives. If I had to rank one to be my favorite, I would probably have to go ahead and give it to the small one. And then probably next up would be the serrated one, and then last of all would be the top. They're cheap knives, and I'm trying to keep that in my head. You know, these are not a higher end $100 knife. They're $12 to $8 depending on which one you get. The assisted open, I've held some cheap, assisted opens in the past. It's very similar. I would say on par with its price. Definitely good for the price. I'm not a big fan of the blade design myself, though. I don't like the curve in the top. I think that just throws off the look of the knife. That, once again, personal preference, but that is something that I noticed, and that's why it's my number 2 as opposed to my number 1, like the little one. The third knife up here at the top, I think that's complete garbage. You know, I'd rather use a knife kind of like this Spyderco that I have right here. It's the same size, but it's so much more, versatile. And yes, it's more expensive. I mean, look at like this knife, for example. This is a good example of a high-end knife. This is a Benchmade. This is an over $100 knife. Now, the steels are going to be a lot stronger. They're going to last a lot longer. This little hook that comes off of it, instead of it just being like an afterthought, like what's on the tool the knife right here with the other tools, it almost seems like it was incorporated into the design properly. So that's just kind of my opinion. Thanks for coming and watching this video today, guys. I'm going to try to get more of these videos out as soon as all this calms down. You guys have a nice day. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for coming and watching today. If you enjoyed this video, click on one of the videos above. I'd like to thank Ryan Chen for subscribing to the channel. I always appreciate the support, guys. I'll see you next time.